I've bought my first PRS. PRS is a very popular brand, isn't it? I've called them pointy, I've called them gaudy, and that's really why I've never had one. It's time to put my prejudices aside and see what they actually play like and sound like, isn't it? I'm in danger of losing a lot of subscribers here. A bit vanilla. It's like Paul scribbled all over him, which I suppose essentially he has. These are stupid things to a lot of you, but I'm just telling you what I think. It's a lovely guitar, but hello, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. Big day here. Big day. I've bought my first PRS. Here it is. It's the SE, the offshore, more affordable version. This is the DGT Dave Grissom. I think T's tremolo, isn't it? With moons rather than birds. I mention that because I'm not a fan of the birds. And in fact, I've gone on record several times as saying that PRS guitars don't appeal to me, the look of them. The birds, I just don't get the birds at all. I've called them pointy, I've called them gaudy. And that's really why I've never had one. But, you know, it's time, isn't it? It's time to put my prejudices aside and see what they actually play like and sound like, isn't it? Because, you know, it's a bit stupid, isn't it, judging your guitar purchases purely on looks? Is it? I don't know. I've had a lot of feedback from you lot since last week, since I unboxed this. First question was, I unboxed 6 guitars last week, didn't I? Which one shall I review first? This was the outstanding winner of that poll. Loads of comments. And what was interesting was it appears to be quite a divisive brand. Lots of you have either said you agree with what I've been saying, is that, you know, they just don't like the look of them. Lots of you have also said you've bought them and you just didn't get on with them, you know, didn't really get it, so sold them again. And then about the other half of you said you'll never look back. Once you play it, you'll never look back. They're the bollocks. It's going to be interesting, isn't it, to find out, you know, well, what I think, I suppose, having spent some time playing it, which I've done over the last 4 or 5 days. I've had it at home. I've been playing it hard, put a bit of time in actually to try and get a feel of what it's all about. So what we'll do now is we'll take it apart first. We'll review it. We'll go through all the specs of it and talk a little bit more about it. And then what we'll do is we'll play it. We'll hear what it sounds like. And then we'll come back and we'll talk some more about it. And I'll let you know if my opinion's been revised at all. So it's gonna take half hour or so. Timestamps are in the description box if you feel the need to skip forward. If not, please go and put the kettle on, get yourself a nice cup of tea and some nibbles, come back and join us. And let's get stuck in and find out what this PRS thing's all about, hey? Yeah, let's do it. So this is a PRS SE, which is their more affordable range. Made offshore. This one's made in Indonesia and retails, well, around about £1,000 in the UK. I thought I was getting a bargain at £899, which is what I paid for this just a week or so ago. But I was just checking online today and I've seen some selling for $799. And in the States, I think Sweetwater have got it for $849. So it's a proper affordable guitar, I suppose, in this day and age, isn't it? This particular model, the DGT, Dave Grissom, It's a signature, isn't it? His signature guitar. I mean, a lot of this is spec'd by Dave Grissom. We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. But they do this particular range, the SE, in 2 models. This one, the gold top with moon inlays, and they also do a tobacco sunburst with the birds. Okay, if you fancy the birds, you can get that one. And Dave Grissom, of course, Austin, Texas-based guitar slinger, I think you'd call him. Proper guitarist, toured with loads of people. Buddy Guy, John Mellencamp, Allman Brothers, Dixie Chicks, to name but a few. So, you know, he's a proper guitarist. And as I discovered when I was having a listen, trying to pick up some ideas for the playing, which I'll have a go at in a bit. You know, great guitarist. So this is his signature, and from what I gather, you know, this has been something that he's worked on with Paul Reed Smith forever, and it's a very successful model in the PRS range. So let's talk about specs. It's a mahogany body, and it's got a maple cap, and you can see that quite clearly, and it's very attractive the way that looks, isn't it? I'm going to start by saying this is an attractive guitar. This one's not gaudy at all. And it's got what they call a violin carve, which is quite a nice, yeah, it's quite a nice sort of subtle sort of shape. The neck is it's a special DGT carve that they've worked on for ages. It's pretty slim. This, we'll measure it in a minute. Before we do that, let's not get ahead of ourselves. First thing we'll do is weigh it. Okay, it's got a little bit of heft to it, but it's not what I'd call heavy. Let's see what it is. 7 pounds 6 ounces. I would have guessed more. 3.34 kilos. There you go. Okay. Not too bad, is it? The actual finish, I mean, I guess it's a poly. I had a look. They don't specify exactly. I guess it's a poly finish. And it's, well, the first thing that does strike you when you pick it up is it's very smart. It's very smart. There's not a ridge in sight, you know, no ridges. No. It's blemish free. It's blemish free. That's what I'm going to say. And that's their reputation, I think, isn't it? The neck they call multi-ply mahogany. It's got a rosewood board. The frets are, do you know, I didn't look and say what it says they are. Definitely of the medium chunkiness profile. I did hear that he said they're quite tall. I don't think they're especially narrow. I think he said they're quite tall. Yeah, I saw that in a PRS video with Dave Grissom saying that he likes them tall because it gets a little bit more purchase. Bloom, I think that's what he said. There you go. I didn't, did I notice it when I was playing it? And not to the detriment of my playing, although I suppose I could blame that, couldn't I, if it's a bit rubbish. Anyway, there you go. Rosewood fingerboard, moon inlays, very smart. Let's have a look at the neck profile and measurements. Okay, here's the neck profile and measurements at the 1st fret. And here's the neck profile and measurements at the 12th fret. The headstock, it's a PRS headstock, isn't it? You like it or you don't. I'm, you know, I'm a skeptic. I don't know. It's very functional though. And I must say, tuning stability on this guitar was brilliant. Yeah, I will say brilliant. This is still set up as it arrived. And even when I'm doing a bit of light warbling, it stays in tune. So, that's, that's not nothing, is it? The hardware, PRS branded tuners. It's got PRS branded tremolo. Literally, this is what the specs say. And it's got 2 PRS, what are the pickups called? Oh, DGT S pickups. We'll take the strings off and have a look at under there in a minute. We'll take them out. Before we do that, I'm going to just pull the nice push fit whammy bar. Doesn't fall out. I'm just going to pop that out because what I'm going to do now is just take the back off first so we can see what's happening under there before we get the strings off. Yeah, I mean, I know little or nothing about tremolos. It looks to me like the Strat tremolo. It looks exactly like a Strat tremolo to me from the underside. So I'm not sure what makes it different. Oh, okay. I can see that it's not fully floating, is it? I should have done some research on this, really. I'm going to get the strings off now, and then we'll talk some. And I might sneak in there and do a little bit of research and come back knowledgeable, or a little bit more knowledgeable about this thing. Let's get the strings off. Whoever put the strings on this did that annoying locking string thing that I used to do until I realised how fucking difficult it is to get the strings off. Okay, now we can have a closer look at the fretboard. It looks lovely, doesn't it? Rosewood, as I said. And the fret job is really neat. I'll show you some close-ups there. Other thing I should mention, 10-inch radius on the fretboard. And this is a 25-inch scale length of PRS. So somewhere in between Gibson and Fender, isn't it? Fender 25.5 inch, Gibson 24 3/4. This 25. There you go. The neck's pretty skinny. You saw the profile and measurements already. It's very skinny. It's noticeable, or I noticed it when I was swapping between some of the other guitars in my home rotation. Yeah, it's pretty skinny. So it's not my favourite profile for sure. The nut is spec'd on the PRS website as a PRS nut as well. So I think, I think they redesign everything, don't they, themselves to make it better, apparently. Now, I've had a brief look into this tremolo system, and I'll be honest, I'm not really qualified to take it apart or tell you anything more about it. I thought, well, should I unscrew it and see what happens? I think it's best that I don't, because I'm not confident I'll be able to put it back together. It doesn't seem to obviously move in any direction. There's these 6 screws, which one can only assume removes it. But what I suggest you do is, if you're interested in PRS tremolos, is do the research yourself, because that's all you're getting from me, okay? But what I can say is it works. It's very sensitive. I think I mentioned that in the playing. It's very sensitive, so you'd have to, get used to it. But presumably you can change the spring lengths and strengths and so on and so forth. But there you go. There you go. Yeah. So that's that. Let's have a look. Well, first what we'll do is we'll have a look in the control cavity, and then we'll have a look under the pickups. Okay, this is what it looks like inside here. A pair of alpha volume pots, and it looks like these have got treble bleeds on both of those. Can you see that? There. Lots of long wire, neatly cable tied. A push-pull here for coil taps. It's coil taps, and I referred to it as coil splits earlier, but these are, well, it says in their specs, coil taps, which is slightly different. And as you can see, there's a switch. It's got a cap there. Seems to have a resistor there. So there's some stuff going on. There you go. No, neat enough, isn't it? Shield in paint. That's what that looks like. Now let's look at some pickup readings. We'll start with the bridge pickup. 8.29K. And the inductance is 5.65 Henrys. Over to the neck. We've got 7.31K with an inductance of 4.24 Henrys. Middle position, 3.88K. Let's look at the tapped. Tapped. Okay, bridge tapped is 5.52. So, yeah, it's definitely not, not in half, is it? And inductance with that tapped, 2.70. And to the neck, tapped, 4.51, with an inductance of just over 2 Henrys. And together, because we can, 2.48K. So there you go. There's a lot of data for you. Let's have a look underneath them. See what's going on here. And this is what it looks like inside there. You can see long neck tenon, lots of gold, pretty neat and tidy. You can see the maple cap. It's pretty chunky. It's like full thickness. It's about ½ an inch, I think, if not more. There you go. That's it. The pickups identified as PTP 4158 SE DGT BNC, and the bridge is PTP 4159 SE DGT TNU. No. Okay, let's put a new set of strings on, tune it up, and have a play. See what it sounds like. See you in a minute. That's it unplugged. Sounds sweet, doesn't it? We're using the Princeton 65 as always. I've got on the board a soul food and a rat. If I use them, I'll show you, okay, using Crocscam, okay. That's the first Crocscam reference of 2024, incidentally. I'm sure there'll be more. Right, this is what it sounds like plugged in. Backed off on the volumes. Now, or actually what I mentioned straight away, the volumes. On the back pickup, that's this one, this is the volume control. It would normally be the other way around, I think. I think you'd normally have front pickup, front volume, back pickup, back volume, but it's specifically wired the other way around. So this is that volume, and this is that volume, and there's one tone for them both. And this is a push-pull. which we'll go through, but just very briefly. See, I got confused there straight away. We'll do that properly in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to back them off to about 7 or 8, start in the middle position. And if I'm going to have a play around, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more and we'll go through the sweep of the parts and see what that's like and stuff. But just watch on knob cam. That's the first knob cam reference of 2024, incidentally. If you watch on knob cam, you'll see me playing with my knobs. So pay attention. I think that's enough. It all works. It all works really well. I don't really turn the volumes down that much, but look. Works right through the range. Same with this one. So it cleans up really nice if you want to sound like this. Sounds very stratty, or it can sound very stratty, especially with the coil split. Just put these up a bit. Some people like that. Tone. Sounds great. Let's go and have a chat. All right, what do I think? All right, let's start with undeniably great value, isn't it? Even at £900, $900 for this is great. And long may those prices hold up, because you know it sells a lot of guitars, no doubt, you know, and the quality. Indonesia, I said that too many times already, haven't I? Made in Indonesia, offshore. I repeated myself at the beginning, and it's just one of those annoying things. You think, oh, I couldn't even really cut it and make it look seamless, so I just left it in. You didn't notice until now, did you? I wish I hadn't pointed it out, to be honest with you. Anyway, this one was made offshore. And what a bargain, really. Quality. It looks great as well. I really like this, the way they've done the edge. No binding, just the natural maple. And I imagine they have to, I don't know if they mask or spray the paint, but you can't see the joins. It's great, and the fretwork is obviously perfect. The nut, the PRS nut, essentially what the PRS nut is like everyone else's nut, but they've cut it properly, so the strings don't bind. So there's a combination of obviously the headstock. You know, it is function. For me, it's function over form. I'm going to talk a bit more about the headstock in a second. Let's talk about the tuning. The headstock helps. I've put a bit of info about this tremolo on the screen earlier when I was talking about not knowing anything about it, and look into it, because it's designed, all sorts of things about it, the way that it's locks back into place or rocks back into place, and the way that the individual saddles don't move and stuff, all means that it goes back to a tune. That's why it's stable, basically. So, you know, it's a really good design, and I can absolutely see why, if you're a gigging musician, you might want to use one of these, because I think you know it's probably something you could rely on, you know, a proper tool to have, to rely on maybe in the studio or maybe at gigs. For me, if I was a working musician and gigging, 50 forget about the studio because no one's really looking at you in the studio. All the studio's about is sounding right and in tune and stuff. But gigging, it's not something I would want to use for a gig because, and here's the kind of the negative stuff. I still, look-wise, it's not rock and roll enough for me, for my tastes, shall we say. It's just the wrong shape for me. I'm not a fan of this shape. The headstock, I'm not a fan of the headstock. I said I'd come back to it. One of the other things about PRS is the logo. It's quite discreet on here, but I mean, if you noticed the PRS amps, it's like someone scribbled all. It's like Paul scribbled all over them, which I suppose essentially he has. It's kind of like I said, I've called PRS gaudy. I just don't. Why? You know, it's so in your face that there's nothing subtle about that at all, is there? So these are, I know these are stupid things to a lot of you, but I'm just telling you what I think. And please don't take it all too seriously. I'm not a fan of this style of guitar. I'm not a fan of this style of guitar. Now, I was going to say, sound-wise, a bit vanilla. I just thought it was a bit vanilla. And that, I'm going to blame the guitar. My playing this week, I thought it was really vanilla. I just thought it was, in fact, after I'd recorded it, I thought, that's junk. I'm just going to have to do it all again. I've been editing it today and I thought, well, I'll use that because that's what the guitar made me do. It's a part of it. It's only a part of it. But that's what I came out with this guitar. I wanted it to be, it was meant to be quite a lot rockier than that. It didn't come out rocky at all. It was, it was, I just kind of didn't have any really character to it, I don't think. And it's a lovely guitar, but I just like my guitar's a little bit more scruffy, a bit more rock and roll, and this just doesn't do that for me. It just didn't do it for me. I like guitars that are a little bit temperamental, perhaps, that make you work at it, that make you feel rock and roll. And a PRS for me, no, it's just not my jam, as some people would say. It's just not my jam. I'll show you what it is, okay, just to put it into perspective, because it is kind of like a chalk and cheese thing, okay. Let me show you what my jam is. Well, this week anyway. This is my new jam, or one of my new jams this week. This is another Maybach that I unboxed this last weekend on the TV channel. This is a Maybach Leicester 54 Black Velvet, which has promptly joined the Albatross 65 SG Junior that I got just last week. This is scruffy bastard, isn't it? P90s, Bigsby that no doubt doesn't stay in tune half as well as the PRS. But it's got loads of character sound-wise as well, and I'll play it for you soon. I'll review it soon and play it for you, and you'll see. This is all my personal opinion, and I'm not saying this is not a brilliant guitar, the PRS, but it ain't for me. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for trouble, aren't I? I think what we better do now is call security before all those PRS fans come and get me. Join us next week, see what we're up to then. Thanks again. Ta-da for now.